and Ruth Eckerd Hall. Tickets at floridaorchestra.org.
In some parts of South St. Petersburg, the options for grocery shopping are pretty limited. So much so, it's considered a food desert. Is a community-owned co-op grocery store the answer? I'm Matthew Peddie. Coming up on Florida Matters, live and local, we'll talk with
names, home addresses, birth dates, social security numbers, income information, and immigration status. The states say they object to the federal government collecting Americans' personal data without a clear need for it, and cited legal and data security concerns. They suggested sharing de-identified data instead, and asked USDA to answer a number of questions, including whether it can confirm state SNAP data won't be used for immigration enforcement. Jude Jaffe-Block, NPR News.
Voters in Miami are going to the polls today in a runoff election for mayor that's getting a lot of attention nearly a year after President Trump's return to the White House. NPR's Giles Snyder has the latest.
The race for the Miami mayor's office is officially nonpartisan, but President Trump brought national attention to it when he endorsed former city manager Emilio Gonzalez. The campaign has attracted big names from both sides of the aisle. Miami has not elected a Democratic mayor in nearly 3 decades. The party, however, is looking to former County Commissioner Eileen Higgins to help add momentum heading into next year's midterm elections.
That's NPR's Giles Snyder reporting. At last check on Wall Street, the Dow was up 111 points. This is NPR News.
Support for NPR comes from ARM, committed to delivering innovative, advanced computing designed to enable worldwide companies to unleash the capabilities and experiences of AI. The future of AI is built on ARM. ARM.com. This is NPR.
You're listening to WUSF 89.7. I'm Craig Kopp. University of South Florida football introduced its new head coach to ecstatic fans yesterday. WUSF's Emma Brisk says Brian Hartline is gearing up to lead his new team.
Bulls fans cheered on their new leader as the Ohio State offensive coordinator was formally introduced as the Bulls' 7th head coach. His predecessor, Alex Golesh, signed with Auburn immediately after the Bulls' last regular season game on November 29th. Hartline says the first thing he wants to do is bond with his new players.
That's really important, to connect with them, to feel the energy, to paint the vision of what it's going to look like moving forward. I just want a clear, communicated plan for the players, the passion, the expectation, and continue growing, and they'll love the outcome.
He will finish up with Ohio State after the college football playoffs. He adds he's hardly getting any sleep, but he's settling in the Bay Area and getting ready for this new chapter. Emma Brisk, WUSF 89.7 News.
The state of Florida is designating the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, as foreign terrorist organizations. In an executive order posted to social media on Monday afternoon, Governor Ron DeSantis accused them of having connections to anti-Jewish groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. The order instructs the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and Florida Highway Patrol to, quote, prevent unlawful activities by the terrorist organizations, end quote. CARE bills itself as the country's largest Muslim advocacy organization. Its Florida headquarters are in Tampa. CARE and its Florida chapter issued a statement saying it would sue DeSantis, calling his order unconstitutional and defamatory. The order is similar to one issued by Texas Governor Greg Abbott last month. He has also asked the U.S. Treasury to suspend CARE's tax-exempt status. CARE has filed a federal lawsuit seeking to block enforcement of that order. I'm Craig Kopp, WUSF News.
Eckerd College proudly hosts live screenings at the Metropolitan Opera, continuing with Andrea Chenier on Saturday, December 13th, presented by Westminster Communities of Florida. Learn more at ollie.eckerd.edu.
Connect to the greater Tampa Bay region first thing weekday mornings with Wake Up Call from WUSF. Local news, events info, culture, and more. Sign up for your Wake Up Call today at WUSF.org.
This is Florida Matters Live and Local. I'm Matthew Peddie. We're broadcasting from the Doctors Lorraine Rubis and Neil Frankel studio in Tampa. Food desert, food insecurity. These are two ways of saying people have a hard time getting food they need just to survive. A large chunk of South St. Petersburg is considered a food desert. A grocery store in the Deuces neighborhood closed in 2017. People living in this poor neighborhood must travel 2.5 miles to access a supermarket now. And so a group of people have taken things into their own hands. They've been working to develop a community-owned grocery store. City leaders in St. Peter also weighing whether to pitch in. Well, we're joined now by Erica Hardison. She's a board president with One Community Grocery Co-op. Erica, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And we want to hear from you too. If you're wondering what a grocery co-op is, does a community-owned or even a city-owned grocery store sound like a good idea to you? Let us know. The number is 813-755-6562. That's 813-755-6562. You can also email us, FloridaMatters@WUSF.org. So, Erica, just give me a sense of what's going on. How hard is it in your neighborhood to get groceries?
Oh, it's very difficult. We have to travel far distances, which the transportation burden is huge. Not only that, it's really for us, it's about community ownership and having a say and having food sovereignty just versus food access and food security.
Okay, so just explain some of those things. So food access and food security, I think I know what those things mean, basically just having enough food and being able to get it. But food sovereignty, what is that?
That takes us a step further. So food sovereignty really addresses how food comes to a community, who has control over the food, how it's processed, and things like that. It's really about being involved in the food system as a community instead of being given food without a choice.
Do you have a sense of why it is that, chain grocery stores don't want to set up there? Because there was a grocery store in one of those, in that neighborhood a while back, right? 2017 or something?
Correct. Yeah, there have been several grocery stores starting, I believe, in 2015 or around that time with Sweet Bay, and then Sweet Bay left, and then Walmart, like a Walmart neighborhood store came and they eventually closed within a few years. And both of these grocery stores probably lasted a total of 3 or 4 years um, altogether. And
Yeah.
so when we talk about why grocery stores don't want to locate in South St. Pete or in areas that are deemed food insecure, Lila, and things like that, it is really because they can't make the margins and some other systematic issues that affect how they are able to profit.
Right. Okay. And just for clarity, for people who may be wondering, okay, what part of St. Peter are we talking about? It's Tangerine Plaza on 22nd Street South, which is where the Walmart was until 2017. So that's almost 9 years ago, which is, that's been a while to be without a grocery store close at hand, right? So, what makes you think a co-op is the way to go? Like, are there other options? Are you still sort of hoping that one of the chains will come in, or is this it's the co-op or nothing?
Well, for us, I wouldn't say it's a co-op or nothing, but there are very different models, right? And so when we're talking about longevity and something that is going to stay and sustain the community, the co-op is definitely the better option. We are one of three grocery co-ops in the state of Florida. The other two are in Tallahassee, and that co-op has been open for over 30 or 40 years. And then there's one in Pensacola, Florida, Everman's, that has been open over 50 years and has two locations.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it's not co-op or nothing. As a resident speaking and living in South St. Pete, it's about what option is going to give us stability, what option is going to build community wealth, build health and security in the community, and not just leave at the whims of investors or if the grocery store feels like it's not making enough margin.
Okay, so it's about more than just convenience and access to food. So walk us through, if you could, what exactly is the co-op model? Like, do you have to buy a membership? What do you get out of being part of the cooperative?
Well, there are several things that you get out of being part of the cooperative. First and foremost, unlike conventional grocery stores, we operate off of the international cooperative principles. And there's seven, sometimes eight people include diversity and inclusivity, but we operate off of those principles. And one of those principles is economic participation. So yes, people do have to join the co-op.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, the co-op is an association of people who gather and come together to solve a community need.
Is there a sign-up fee as well?
Yes, there's a sign-up fee. So our sign-up fee is the lifetime membership of $225, and it can be paid in increments of $25.
Okay. And so once you pay that
And
$225, you're good forever, as long as the co-op exists.
you're good.
Wow. Okay.
Exactly.
And then, so I mean, you're moving towards a physical location, right? That's the goal. But in the meantime, what have you been doing? Like, what are people getting out of the co-op now? Because my understanding is you've got 300 folks or 160 odd folks who signed up.
Well, right now we are just over 175.
Okay.
And in terms of what people get at this stage in our development, we do produce pop-ups. So we provide access to locally grown, fresh, organic produce through produce pop-ups around our three target zip codes, which are 33705, 33711, and 33712. We also do events because we are more than a grocery store. We are about building not only access to food, but building healthy people, making sure there is community, and making sure that people have a say in what goes on in their community.
Yeah.
And also economic development. So we do a number of different programs around the seven cooperative principles. We have a drumming circle. We do community cleanups. We have youth programs, different things that
I
will
mean, this,
help.
this sounds good, but it also sounds like a lot. I mean, there's some people who are like, I just want my groceries, man. Like,
Yeah, and that's fine. Those people who just want their groceries
uh,
are welcome to join as well. Like we have members who participate on all kinds of levels. And
mhm,
one of the things about the co-op is we want to be something for everyone. So that person who says, I want a grocery store in my neighborhood so I can stop traveling so far. So if I forget something, I can just go down the street and get the ingredients I need to make a healthy meal.
mhm,
That person is able to join now in these phases. But at this phase, we're building and organizing. When we move into feasibility, we will pick a location
mhm.
as as a as membership, so member owners actually get a say. Like I tell all my neighbors, like, hey, if you want it to be located close to Lake McGorry Shores, you got to join the co-op because
Right.
Childs Park is beating us in the numbers.
Yeah.
And then when we finally open the grocery store, it will be open for everyone to shop. The
Uh-huh.
only difference is that member owners will be the ones who have been on the committees and designed and really taken a deeper dive
Right.
into what it means to
Yeah.
have a grocery store in our neighborhood.
I want to get a call in here as Nathaniel is on the line. Nathaniel, you're on the air.
Hi. So this is a fabulous idea. We should definitely be doing this. Gulfport currently has an opening at 22nd Avenue South and 49th Street.
Yeah,
Save-A-Lot
the old
just
Save-A-Lot.
closed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, obviously you just answered one. You guys know about it, but have you gotten the city involved? Have you got them paying attention to it? And if so, how do we, the people of Gulfport, address the city and say, yes, that's a good idea, so we can apply pressure from like the voters' side?
All right. Great question. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Nathaniel. What about that?
Yeah, great question, Nathaniel. And you are right on. It is about helping the city understand that food is a human right
Mm.
and that no one neighborhood should go without, while other neighborhoods have 2 and 3 and 4 Publix or grocery stores within a 1 block radius of each other. So in terms of what you can do, we work with Fusion 49th, which is the business district along 49th Street, and where one side is St. Pete and one side is Gulfport, if anybody is familiar with that. We have been in front of the St. Petersburg HERS Committee, Health, Energy, Resilience, and Sustainability, and are hoping to go in front of them again and the whole council early in 2026. So
Yeah.
as residents, please speak up during council meetings, write letters to your ward or your city council district council people
Right.
so that we can get them aware and understand that this is not just a want, it's a need. It's a right that people should have in St. Petersburg.
Erica Hardison, we're going to have to leave the conversation there, but thank you so much for sharing your insights. Erica Hardison is board president with One Community Grocery Co-op. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, coming up next, the state says college professors will now be required to post the course syllabus and other materials online. They're expanding those rules so anyone in the public can see it. The union is challenging the new requirements. We'll talk about why in a moment. Stay tuned to Florida Matters live and local. More to come in a moment.
Listener support powers WUSF. Funding also comes from Suncoast Credit Union, whose local professionals are ready to support businesses with tailored products and services, from commercial real estate and investment loans to equipment financing and treasury management. Learn more at suncoast.com/nextlevel. Bach Tower Gardens hosts Dreamweaver Tales from the Trees. It's an all-new immersive art exhibition where the lines between nature and the mystical blur with fairies, sprites, and more. Details at bachtowergardens.org.
Artists, nonprofits, local businesses. Join Arts Access Florida and get your story out there. If you're creating cool things, tell us about your process. It's free, easy, and the best way to connect with the Greater Tampa Bay region's arts community. Go to artsaccessfl.org. And thank you, Community Foundation Tampa Bay.
Welcome back to Florida Matters Live and Local. I'm Matthew Peddie. Florida faculty were told last month by the State Education Department they have to post more of their syllabi and other course materials online. The unions says the state is out of line. The United Faculty of Florida and the Florida Education Association have filed an administrative challenge. So to talk more about what's going on here, we're joined by Steve Lang. He's a professor in the College of Education at the University of South Florida, and he's on the United Faculty of Florida's chapter president for USF. Steve, thank you for being here.
Oh, glad to be here.
And also with us is Jarrett Gupton, assistant professor in USF's College of Education. He's on the Faculty Senate. Jarrett, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let me ask you this, Steve. You already have to post some material online, right? So what is different about this new rule?
We've had to post faculty syllabi ahead of class for years. GE courses 45 days at a time and regular classes a week. That's not new. Mm-hmm. What's new is the Board of Governors asking for a repository of all the syllabi or important parts of the syllabi in kind of a searchable database at some state level. We don't know exactly what they're going to do with that because this is going to give them an opportunity to essentially attack academic freedom. Mm. In other words, they're going to be able to go through and hunt for concepts or terms or things that they don't like. And right now, that would be harder for them to do.
Jared, is that just a fear, or I mean, is there some evidence that may be what happened? Because somebody not familiar with this might say, "Look, what are professors hiding? You get public funds. What's the big deal?"
Yeah, there is a real fear that this type of system will be used to monitor faculty and what they're teaching, and can be accessed both by individual state representatives, potential external entities that are perhaps not in alignment with certain ideologies that faculty members teach in their respective disciplines.
Mm-hmm. Is there some evidence, like what that this might have happened before, or like what are you basing this on?
We've seen at other universities when syllabi have been made publicly available that if in particular information about the faculty member, the location of the course, their contact information, they do see an increase in online harassment target by specific government entities, especially if there is a disagreement in the political ideology of the course and of the specific state representative. So with this is something that Faculty Senate has been monitoring since this policy came to light, is what are the safety conditions, because we have continually seen concerns from faculty who have experienced harassment about this. And there are also potential safety concerns if students are in the class and they are also exposed, if their name is somehow leaked out to the public, they can also experience those forms of online harassment and that. So we want to make sure that what we're doing allows faculty members to feel safe and create high-quality courses for USF students.
I should note, too, we did reach out to the Department of Education. We didn't get a response, but we're happy to talk to them as well on Florida Matters Live and Local. I mean, Steve, let me just point out something. Kathy Hebder from the Division of Florida Colleges says this is just to make things more transparent. She says students will know what they're getting into before they sign up. I mean, that sounds reasonable on the face of it. I mean, you're saying essentially this is going too far, though?
I don't think that making students aware of what's in a course is at all the issue. I think this is a fake issue. I think I was saying in the waiting room in there that it's kind of like when in the Music Man musical they said, you have trouble here, you have pool, you have a pool table, or something, or pool room. It's a fake problem that doesn't really exist. Students have always had the opportunity to see what's the general nature of a course. We have catalogs. Courses and syllabi have always been available. You can always look at the syllabi from previous years. Most of the time, if you ask faculty for a syllabus, they'll give you one. Textbooks are obviously public, and we've been putting the syllabi up there so that if you want to take a class, you can see the syllabus a week before or maybe 2-3 months before the class starts. Mm-hmm. If you want to drop it or add it or something, you can do that. This is not really an issue of transparency of what the student is studying at all. This is only so that you can hunt for particular concepts and use it to attack the ideas that the faculty are using in their course.
If you're just joining us on Florida Matters Live and Local, we're talking with Steve Lang, Education Professor and USF Chapter President with United Faculty of Florida, and Jarrett Gupton, Assistant Professor in USF's Department of Education and a Faculty Senate Representative. We're talking about new requirements for professors to post their coursework and syllabi online publicly, not just for students to see. Faculty unions say the Department of Education is overstepping. If you've got thoughts on this, give us a call and let us know, 813-755-6562. You can also send us an email, floridamatters@wusf.org. I mean, the president of the State Faculty Union, Robert Casanello, called this part of a, quote, continued attack on academic freedom from the state. What about that, Jared? Is that a kind of an overstatement there, do you think?
Well, Steve Leggett is the union representative, but I will say parts of this policy do undermine academic freedom and shared governance. They place more decision-making power within the hands of the state. So we've seen several policies over the last few years that seem to consolidate more power within the hands of administration and within the hands of the state government. So there is an attempt to continually undermine shared governance, academic freedom from that standpoint. With that said, we are always in favor of providing clear information, but we can do that in ways that respects academic freedom and respects faculty member safety.
Steve, what about this rule, would you say, what impact is it having on faculty morale?
Well, the vast majority of faculty that we've had any conversations with are very much against this. Faculty already go through a lengthy process to put a course together and put it in the catalog. There are committees and rules and evaluation. A lot of the content of courses is also viewed for the purpose of accreditation or licensing or something like that. So there's no shortage of the scrutiny of the content. We also expect college students to have the opportunity to see diverse viewpoints and to debate things and to see different ways that things can be presented. There's no problem with that. What we don't want is a political person who's not really in the loop. They're not a faculty member. They're not part of the program. They're not part of the content. And they come in from outside and want to put a damper on what you're teaching. That would be a real travesty. It'd be bad for the students. They would not get some of the content that they would like. And it would be bad for the faculty member who is having their academic freedom restricted.
Just in the last 30 seconds or so we have here, Steve, what are you hearing from students, if anything, about this? I mean, are they sort of weighing in? Are they happy with it? Are they happy to have more information? Are they worried, as some faculty clearly are?
We have not really surveyed or talked to students much about it. I think students do want to know what they're going to be studying, but they have not complained openly and said, oh, we really like to know what's in the classes.
Well, we're going to have to leave the conversation there, but I want to thank you both for your insights. Steve Lang, Education Professor and USF Chapter President with United Faculty of Florida, and Jarrett Gupton, Assistant Professor in USF's Department of Education and Faculty Senate Representative. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Well, still to come, the legislative session starts in January. It's a safe bet. Property taxes will be a top issue. We'll talk about that and more as we outline what's to come when lawmakers gather in Tallahassee next month. That's coming up on Florida Matters Live and Local. Stay with us.
Funding for WUSF comes from listeners like you, and also Green & Green Attorneys at Law, helping families navigate the divorce process, including collaborative divorces and trial representation. Green & Green, solution-oriented, trial-tested. Learn more at greenlegalfirm.com. The Palladium at St. Pete College presents its Chamber Series opener Across Time and Timbre. Pianist G1 Park joins members of the Florida Orchestra for an evening of Beethoven, Poulenc, and Dvorak this Wednesday, December 10th. Details at mypalladium.org.
On the next Fresh Air, Ray Seahorn, the star of the new series Pluribus. You may know her as the co-star of Better Call Saul, which was both the sequel and prequel to Breaking Bad. Vince Gilligan created both shows. Pluribus has a sci-fi premise, but asks larger questions about happiness, anger, conformity, and resistance. Join us.
Great conversation on Fresh Air tonight at 7 on WUSF.
Welcome back to Florida Matters Live and Local. I'm Matthew Peddie. In a matter of weeks, lawmakers embark on their annual pilgrimage back to Tallahassee. We know they'll be talking about property taxes. Governor DeSantis is no fan of property taxes, and he wants them pared back, if not scrapped altogether. But what else is going to be on the agenda? If you've got thoughts on the pros and cons of property tax or other things you want lawmakers to tackle in 2026, you can call and tell us. We're at 813-755-6562. You can join the conversation there. You can also send us an email, FloridaMatters@WUSF.org. Well, just to get us started, let's turn to WUSF's Douglas Soul. He's with the Your Florida team, reporting on laws that are crafted in Tallahassee, how they affect you and your neighbours across the state. Douglas, thanks for being here. And first, let's talk property tax. There's been a bunch of potential constitutional amendments in the works. What's the latest?
It's important to point out that those constitutional amendment proposals in the works are in the House. And those proposals are moving through the process, but the Senate is being a lot more tight-lipped about what it wants to do. The Capitol Press Corps spoke with the Senate president yesterday, actually. Property tax is one of the big topics that came up, understandably. Senate President Ben Alpern has a philosophy that he shares over and over and over. He likes to measure 3 times and cut once. Meaning, in this case,
what is he, a carpenter or something?
He's a farmer.
Okay.
But in this case, it means that we have no definitive information about what his chamber wants to do. But as mentioned, Alpern is a rural guy, a farmer. He's aware of how cutting the property tax is going to hurt rural, financially constrained counties. That tax funds local services, so he's approaching this very cautiously, it appears.
Right, I mean, that's sort of what happens a lot of times when you look at how the House and Senate approach things, right? You sometimes get a little more flamboyant approaches from the House, a little more sedate from the Senate. But it sounds like there is going to be something that voters will see on the November ballot, right, on property taxes.
Alpern isn't against the idea of some kind of change to the property tax. In fact, he supports it. And since Governor Ron DeSantis definitely wants a reduction, a ballot measure wouldn't be surprising. We just don't know what the language would be yet.
Yeah, okay. Now, redistricting is something happening across the country. The U.S. Supreme Court just ruled a new Texas map favoring Republicans there is okay. California also redrawing its congressional map to favor Democrats. What about Florida? What's happening here in the Sunshine State?
So a Florida House Redistricting Committee is having its first meetings here in the Capitol. These are only informational meetings right now, so we don't have a map or anything, but it represents a big first step in this congressional map conversation here in the Sunshine State. One big thing we're seeing right now is no one is really on the same page about when to begin a redistricting process. The House wants to do it during the legislative session, which starts in a little over a month. Governor DeSantis and the Senate president, though, they're indicating wanting to wait for a spring special session after that regular session. They want to wait for a U.S. Supreme Court ruling on a Louisiana redistricting case.
Huh, okay. Now, lawmakers are, another thing they were focusing on, I think, is the threat posed by artificial intelligence. What are they going to do to tackle that?
Very timely question, because AI seems to be one of the big themes in the Capitol this committee week. Today, a lot of House committees actually are discussing the impacts of it on various facets of Florida. And it's not just state lawmakers that are part of these big conversations. We've also got Governor DeSantis and even President Trump. There's a potential conflict between the two on this topic of AI regulation, since Trump is expected to try to prevent states' ability to regulate AI. DeSantis posted on social media this week that he believed Trump didn't have that power. He wants to regulate it. DeSantis is calling for an AI Bill of Rights that he says would provide consumer protections.
Right. And before we let you go, Douglas, immigration, I mean, Democrats wanting to rein in DeSantis' emergency powers on immigration. Just remind us real quick what those powers are, and do Democrats have any chance of success in paring back some of that power?
Yeah, since 2023, DeSantis has time after time extended a state of emergency order on immigration. That order allows him to circumvent certain rules for this immigration topic, like those related to competitive bidding and oversight, leading to funding of projects like Alligator Alcatraz. Democrats want to rein this in, but we haven't seen Republicans enthusiastically joining their call. I did hear from some Democrats who believe there's a chance, since some Republicans in the legislature criticized DeSantis and his use of power over the last year, but it's going to be a big question mark going into the session, and so far silence from the Republican end.
WUSF's Douglas Soul, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Well, listening to that is WUSF political journalist William March. William, thanks for stopping by.
Nice to be here.
And if you've got questions about the upcoming legislative session, maybe things that you would like lawmakers to focus on, give us a call, 813-755-6562. That's 813-755-6562. You can also email FloridaMatters@WUSF.org. All right, so property taxes, William, I mean, you've been watching politicians hash this out in Tallahassee. I mean, surely this isn't the first time that lawmakers have had a crack at property tax?
Oh, absolutely not. There's been various modifications of the property tax system, mostly focusing on homestead properties for decades. Mm-hmm. The Save Our Homes plan is one of the major products of that.
Okay. So what about redistricting? I mean, how unusual is it to try and redraw congressional boundaries when it's not even a presidential election year? And this is obviously something that isn't just happening here in Florida. It's everywhere in the United States, it seems.
Well, it's very unusual. Normally, redistricting is done immediately after the census every 10 years. I cannot remember an occasion where redistricting was done in Florida other than that, or for that matter, any other state, unless it was the result of a court ruling throwing out a plan that had been adopted after the census. Mm-hmm. So, yes, this is a very unusual move.
Yeah. How do you see this playing out?
Well, it seems very likely that the legislature will at least attempt to adopt some kind of a plan. One of the main questions is when they do it. As we heard from Douglas, DeSantis and Ben Albritton, the Senate president, want to wait for a court ruling. The problem with that is that if you adopt a plan next spring, late spring, after the coming legislative session, that session ends in March, if you adopt a plan after that, you're getting very close to Election Day. Mm-hmm. And that means that candidates don't know until very shortly prior to the election what districts they're going to be running in. So that's problematic. But as Douglas said, Senator Albritton and Ron DeSantis want to wait for a Supreme Court decision on a Louisiana case. Now, that case involves districting to enhance minority voting rights.
Okay. And how would that impact what happens in Florida?
Well, Florida has districts that were set up to enhance minority voting rights.
Okay. Got a call coming in from Gene. He wants to know about plans for cybercrime legislation. Gene, go for it. You're on the air.
Yes, I'm just noticing that when we spoke to Duke about the price increase rate, they had no answer when I stood in front of the board and asked, what are you doing for cybercrime? Are we paying for it? Because it sure seems like it.
Can you be a little more specific about what you mean by cybercrime exactly?
Well, all of us in Florida got new IDs, driver's license numbers, because the fraud is so bad in Florida. Uh-huh. And when I say after your 7-year freeze is lifted, it all comes back on you again. I'm one of those people that have identity theft, all coming back on me 7 years later.
Okay, so you're concerned about that. You're wondering if that's going to be something.
No, I'm concerned. I'm concerned because we had medical, we had water, we had electric, all hit by cyber criminals asking for ransoms.
Okay.
So who in the world is paying for our future cyber protection on all of these infrastructures? I assume we are, because Duke has raised our rates, and we are the highest in the United States.
Gene, thanks for your call. So. Yeah, what about that? Are you hearing any whispers from Tallahassee that cybercrime could be something they'd discuss?
I haven't heard that that's likely to be an issue in this coming session. I haven't heard any discussion of it. Now, as the caller just said, there is a question, and it's a national security issue, at least as much as a state issue, about cybercrime hacks against critical public infrastructures. And I've heard the Public Service Commission discussing this with the utilities in the past, but I've heard nothing new recently about any new initiative of any kind to act on this.
Mm-hmm. If you're just joining us on Florida Matters Live and Local, we're talking with political journalist William March about the upcoming legislative session. If you've got thoughts about what you think lawmakers should be talking about, whether it's property taxes, other things, give us a call and let us know. 813-755-6562. That's 813-755-6562. Okay, so state spending, I mean, that was kind of a big push to cut state spending. We've seen that going on in 2025. Do you think that's going to be a theme for the session next year as well?
Well, the economic forecasts are for the coming fiscal year for the states still to have a comfortable financial situation. The problem is that starting in 27-28 fiscal year, Florida is going to face significant budget deficits. This is according to the to the economic forecasters who work for the legislature.
Is that?
Well, one thing is the evaporation of the federal largesse that was distributed after the
2020,
pandemic,
of course.
But it's also very much a matter of the costs of things that state government has to buy, particularly employment, healthcare costs, obviously skyrocketing.
Mm-hmm.
One thing the state spends a lot of money on is employees and healthcare plans for those employees. The state retirement system is going to need more money.
Mm.
So right now, the legislature is looking at a reasonably comfortable budget year upcoming, but that won't last.
Yeah. Speaking of healthcare, I mean, healthcare costs do affect a lot of us. Of course, we saw the longest federal government shutdown ever over the extension of COVID-era health insurance subsidies. There's actually a Florida House committee kicking around a bill to launch a statewide health insurance exchange. What do you make of that?
That is something that, if I understand it right, would be something like a state version of Obamacare.
Interesting.
Republicans, who, of course, dominate the legislature, do not like Obamacare, and they've tried to do their best to undercut it in every way they can at both the national and state level. This is going to be a very difficult, very complicated subject for the legislature. And when the Florida legislature starts tackling any subject like that, one thing that you have to realize is they meet for like 60 days.
Mm. Or sometimes there's a special session kind of tacked on the end if they can't get their business done in that 60 days.
That's correct. But the point is they just simply don't have time to do in 1 year, in one legislative session, a hugely complicated issue.
It's kind of a generational problem, isn't it?
Yes. These things, they have to go forward over a period of years.
Mm.
So I don't frankly see this. And add to that the uncertainty about what's going to happen to the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare subsidies that are being debated in Congress right now.
Yeah. Thinking of kind of money and where it goes, a so-called Rural Renaissance Bill failed to pass last year. They're trying again to convince lawmakers to pump money into education, healthcare, transportation in rural communities. What do you know about this bill, and does it have a chance next year?
Well, this is the pet project of the Senate President, Ben Albritton, who's from a rural county, who's from Wauchula.
Yeah, and we heard from Douglas that's a big concern of his.
Right, it is. It's a big concern of his. He's a farmer. And Senator Albritton wants this legislation. It passed the Senate last year, but it did not pass the House. It passed the Senate under Albritton's guiding hand. Did not pass the House. It's, if I'm correct, the spending involved is somewhere around the order of $220 million. And this would be used for projects like attracting healthcare practitioners to rural areas, giving student loan repayment assistance to teachers in order to attract teachers to these areas, some extra money for infrastructure like roads and internet, programs for housing, school construction, about $218 million total. I'm sure it will pass the Senate again this year with all Britain in charge. But again, the question
They get held
is
up
the
in the
House.
House. Yeah. We're going to have to leave it there, but William March, political journalist, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it.
I'll enjoy it.
Well, coming up, you're going to meet someone who you might have seen actually out on the roads around Tampa Bay. He's often seen running, holding high a giant American flag. Who is this guy? Stay tuned for Teague Purejoy McCoy. That's coming up next when Florida Matters Live and Local continues.
Sarasota Ballet presents Masters of Movement, accompanied by the Sarasota Orchestra, featuring Balanchine's Divertimento No. 15, Mozartiana, and more, December 19th and 20th at the Sarasota Opera House. Tickets at sarasotaballet.org. WUSF thanks Community Foundation Tampa Bay for a generous grant supporting our Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence in Large Market Radio. Your investment in public media helps us serve our community. Thank you for believing in WUSF.
I'm Peter O'Dowd. Nuclear power plants that had been retired are coming back into service to meet rising electricity demand for AI.
What we're doing here is exciting. Having a reliable power source that keeps your electricity costs low, everybody should be rooting for that.
When power plants come back from the dead, next time on Here and Now.
Join us this afternoon from 1 to 3 on WUSF 89.7.
On the Bay Blend podcast, we highlight things to do in the Tampa Bay area you might not even know about, like when I went to Rustic Steel Academy to try my talents at welding.
Do you think I have a future as a welder if I wanted to change career paths?
I think I would not quit your day job yet.
Well, at least he was honest. On the Bay Blend podcast, we give you the news and some fun in your own community. That's the Bay Blend from WUSF, wherever you listen to your podcasts or online at WUSF.org.
Welcome back to Florida Matters Live and Local. I'm Matthew Peddie. If you've spotted a shirtless jogger waving a big American flag on the roads around Tampa Bay lately, you might have slowed down to take a closer look. And if you rolled down your window, you probably heard some banter too.
What's up, baby?
How far?
17.
17 miles?
Yes, sir.
Damn.
Carrying the weight of the people, baby. The weight of America. Yeah! People been hooting, hollering, and honking all day. I just stopped by the Naughty Order to get some water, baby. Ooh.
17 miles is impressive, son. Damn.
Thank you. This is for the soldiers, firefighters, police, first responders, everybody, baby. This is for America. Love y'all. I love you, Dad.
Love you, son.
All right, so that's from a video posted to Teague Purejoy McCoy's Instagram. Teague's with us now. Thanks for taking a break from running and stopping by our studios.
Yes, sir. Anytime, brother.
All right, so and if you've got a question for Teague or you want to weigh in, give us a call. 813-755-6562. You can also send an email to FloridaMatters@WUSF.org. All right, so Teague, what the heck are you doing out there?
I'm running with the American flag to unify the American people, brother.
Yeah, and you've brought the flag with you. It's sort of
Yes,
rolled
sir.
up in the back. It's looking a little bit tattered around the edges. I
Yes,
noticed
sir.
from some of the latest videos, so that's been out there with you from the get-go.
Yes, sir. We've been through thick and thin, me and her.
Yeah.
We've been through storms. We've been through just about all you can imagine. We've got a lot of hecklers, we've got a lot of supporters, but I'm definitely appreciative and thankful that I have the opportunity to do this, brother.
And you're asking people to send you videos of your escapades. Tell us about the snippet we just heard now.
The snippet just then was actually my father. I was out on a run, and that was the first run I did with the flag, actually. And I was out on a run. I was on about mile 17. I ended up doing 20. My dad rolled up on me, and he has my location on my phone, so he came up on me, and he was like, "Hey, that's impressive, son. What you doing?" I'm like, "Dad, I'm running with the flag. What do you mean, baby?" Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, I think, really appreciated the bond that I have with my father. And I mean, we always say love you to each other no matter what. We probably say it 20 times a day, but I saw a lot of people within the comments that don't have that opportunity to say that to their dad, whether they passed or they just don't have a good relationship with them. It definitely touched home with a lot of people, Matt.
Seems a little Forrest Gump-like. So how will people respond? You've got a sort of a mixed bag of responses there. It's not always your dad rolling up and giving you some encouragement.
No, sir. It's usually just random people. So whenever I'm running throughout a park or whatever it may be, I have people take videos of me, and I always request for them to send it to me so I can use it within my content. Mm-hmm. It's always cool having a separate angle and seeing a way that other people can feel involved. So having them send me the content for me to use it, it adds a different source to the content. It's very nice.
And is that a movie you were familiar with growing up, Forrest
It's my
Gump?
favorite movie of all time, brother.
So is that where the idea came from?
Not necessarily. It definitely was one of the reasons, but it wasn't the main determining factor. I definitely run for a particular reason. Because Forrest just said, I started running for no particular reason, and he just kept going. But I'm running to unify the American people, but I definitely got a bit of inspiration from Forrest for sure.
What's the wildest interaction you've had on one of your runs?
I don't know if you just saw recently, a guy tried to spit on me.
No.
After that, it was pouring rain. I mean, it was really beating down on me. And this guy circled around probably 6 or 7 different times just to splash water on me, which is funny because it's ironic. It's pointless. I mean, it's already raining. I'm already soaking wet. So the fact that he circled around so many times, I just thought was hilarious. And it honestly gave me a bit more motivation and inspiration to be like, well, you're going to have people that hate on you. It's good to just keep progressing, keep moving, and use it as a benchmark moving forward.
Do you worry, though? I mean, if you're sort of out there running, you're a little bit exposed. I mean,
it's
splashing water on you is one thing, but somebody's in a vehicle and you're running, you're kind of a little bit vulnerable.
It's intimidating for sure. I always run against traffic. It's good to see where cars are coming from, coming at you. It is intimidating, especially since I'm doing the American tour, running a half marathon in every single state in 2026. I'm going to be giving people my location and telling them when I'm going to be there. It can be a bit intimidating and frightening, but I pray to God and He protects me with the armor. So I fear nothing when it comes to that. I think that within history, there's always been some sort of time that a historical figure is within the presence of some sort of danger. And I think to truthfully make a difference, you need to put yourself in that position, and I'm willing to do that, Matt.
And that's running along the side of our
slightly
dodgy roads at times,
with
right?
that beautiful flag back there, yes, sir.
So, you do see some interesting sights on the roads, whether you're in a car, whether you're walking on your bike or something. What's the most Florida thing you've seen on your run so far?
Okay, I posted a video about this the other day. I was going on US 19, and I saw a kid that was shirtless wearing flip-flops. His butt crack was out. He had a lizard on like a shoestring, and he had a mosquito on a fishing line. It was like the most unique thing I've ever seen in my life. It was fascinating, and I just kept it pushing. But it was probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. What got you started on this quest? I mean, you mentioned the fact that the video that we heard a little bit of at the start, that was the first time you'd been carrying the flag, but how long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing this for 90 days consecutively, running every single day with the American flag. And the reason I started originally is because I felt as if we were in a lost point within America. I mean, especially when I went online and I saw all the discrepancy, all the disagreements, and all the times that you just see hatred online. I mean, it's predominantly hatred. So I just wanted to be a beacon of light to those people out there that are looking for some sort of positivity, And I think that picking up the flag definitely helps with the allowance of that.
Mm-hmm. If you're just tuning into Florida Matters Live and Local, I'm talking with Teague Purejoy McCoy. You may have seen him running around the streets of Tampa Bay with a giant U.S. flag. He says he's doing it to unite people. If you've seen him out there pounding the pavement, waving Old Glory, or if you've got a question, give us a call, 813-755-6562. You can also weigh in at FloridaMatters@WUSF.org. Send us an email there. So I was scrolling back through some of your posts. Now you're urging people, especially young people, to get off their phones and get active.
Yes, sir.
Before I ask, how old are you?
I'm 21. My birthday's tomorrow. I'm turning 22.
Okay. So what's your pitch to other 20-something kids, people who are younger than you?
So usually growing up, everybody always hears their mama or their dad say, "It's that dang phone, get off that phone." And you're always like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. It is that dang phone. Every single time. People are spending way too much time on their phone, especially within the campus. You walk around and you see people walking past crosswalks and speed bumps with their face glued to their phone. And I actually saw a picture the other day where this gentleman he'd take photos of people in public and he'd edit out the phone in their hand. Mm-hmm. And you just look at the look on these people's faces when you edit the phone out, and it's just fascinating. I mean, we're so distracted, and you just feel like there's not much authenticity anymore. There's not any real genuine connection. And I think that the phone puts some separation in between us for sure.
Do you find a little bit of irony in the fact that you're asking people to send you their photos?
Yes.
You're sort of reaching out to people online, but you're saying also, hey, don't spend too much time on these things.
It's tough. I mean, it's like yin and yang. There's no love without hate. It's there's obviously going to be each aspect to it, but you can use it for good or for bad. I like to utilize the internet in a good way to spread as much positivity as possible, but obviously you're going to have your bad apples and your exceptions, Matt.
Were you kind of addicted to your phone growing up?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Not even growing up. I more played like Minecraft. I liked video games. I'm more of a video gamer, but scrolling, doom scrolling is just constantly scrolling into the abyss. There's no end of it. Mm. And it's such cheap little dopamine hits that your brain constantly searches and yearns for. And I think that short-form social media is the downfall of America. And obviously the irony in that is insane because I post short-form media, but I do it to bring recognition and notoriety towards that and to unify American people, you know?
You can also get that dopamine hit from going for a jog too, right?
Absolutely. You actually get more when you delay your gratification, Matt.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
So,
sir.
I mean, thinking about what we've been through in the last 5 years, particularly, it's been quite challenging, especially I think for young people. I mean, if you think about COVID-19 in 2020, that left a lot of people feeling isolated. Does that do you feel like that has some impact on shaping how you view life now?
Are you saying COVID in specific, or are you just saying the internet and within general?
Yeah, COVID specifically, kind of how that sort of set things off.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it or not, I was actually posting TikTok videos back in COVID, so I've always had like the producer spirit in me. Like I've always wanted to put out videos. There's a lot different content back then.
Sure.
Yeah, but I definitely think that COVID impacted a lot of things. I mean, it shut a lot of people away, and I think that now we're flourishing and America's starting to grow. But specifically towards me, it didn't have all that much of an impact. I was a very young man, so I just stayed at my parents' house. The schooling online was relatively the same. I mean, it was just over the laptop or whatever, but it didn't have a crazy impact on me specifically, Matt.
And now, obviously, you're spending a lot of time running, but is that like, what do you do mainly? You're a trainer?
I'm a cage fighter.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I do cage fighting. I do personal training, specifically like cardio boxing and jiu-jitsu and all that fun stuff. I'm a big advocate for young children as well as women getting in jiu-jitsu to learn how to protect themselves. I think that it's very, very important to learn some sort of form of hand-to-hand combat, and I obviously like to take that into my own hands and teach people myself.
As your dad was pointing out, 17 miles in a day is a lot of running.
Yes, sir.
And you're doing that back-to-back for 90 days consecutively?
Yes, sir. I mean, it varies. I'll usually I aim for about 5 miles a day, but sometimes, you get a couple of extra honks on that day, and it gives you a bit more of a higher spirit, and you're like, man, let's get after it today, baby. So, like example, I was running at about 4 o'clock the other day. I only planned on getting 5 miles in, getting home before the sun went down. I went for about 24 miles. I just started running, and I kept going.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And so next year, as you said, you're planning to run a half marathon in each state.
Absolutely.
Is it like one per week, or how are you going to split it up?
So I do plan to do it about one per week. I think that it's going to pour over a little into 2027, but I want to tackle at least 30 states within 2026. And I'm going to be stopping at hot spots, like different towns on the way as well. I'm still going to be running every single day with the flag, and I'm going to be living out of like a camper van or like a mobile home or whatever.
Okay, and you're hoping people are going to join you on these runs?
I very, very much hope so, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, Teague Purejoy McCoy, you can find him on Instagram at Purejoy McCoy. And also WSF's Megan Bowman joined Teague for one of his runs. You can see her reporting on WSF's Instagram page. And you might see Teague out running with a giant US-American flag yourself. Be careful. Thanks for being here, Teague.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the time, Matt.
Well, coming up next time on Florida Matters Live and Local, a federal court sided with the state of Florida in restricting kids' access to social media. Do you agree kids should be restricted from social media platforms, or is this law censorship, as critics say? You can call and leave us a message. The number is 813-755-6562. You can also join the conversation Wednesday at 12 noon. That's our show for today. Florida Matters executive producer is Grayson Doctor. Our producer is Amelie Horace. Lily Belcher is our intern. Our engineers are Jackson Harp and Gio Garvin. Jackson composes the music. And Chandler Bolcom handled the video today. Subscribe to Florida Matters wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch on WSF's YouTube channel. I'm Matthew Peddie. Thanks for joining us.